Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler. This time we continue looking at what we started looking at again last time, which is the rental VHS copies of the prequel films from the UK in that unusually large rental packaging relative to what they saw on the retail market. I will note, this is episode number 490. I do not believe we're going to hit episode 500 around the same time as the 10th anniversary. Those will be slightly off time-wise. I just don't know if we're going to have enough stuff to show to get to 500 by that point in August. But the anniversary is coming up, and we will see episode 500 soon. I have the stuff planned for 500. I just need to get there to get to that point. And I have a few things on the shelf that I might be able to record about tomorrow to continue with another burst of these episodes here as I sweat to death in my office here during the day. So, getting back to what we're going to look at here, we had Phantom Menace getting this release for retail in the UK, along with a widescreen copy. But then this was the rental version. Much larger, slightly different back design, but not by much. Then in the last episode, we noted that, as we had seen before, there was the retail Attack of the Clones release, but then there was also a rental version that was much larger, but aside from moving a little bit around on the back, pretty much the same in that case as well. So now we finish out the prequel trilogy in a way you couldn't have finished it out in the US regardless. Because remember, the US did not get a VHS release of Revenge of the Sith. And I still see people from time to time then claiming that that means that there weren't any anywhere in the world, so any you run across might be a bootleg. There are some bootlegs out there. There are some fan recreations that look like they would be legitimate releases when they really are not. I have one of those in my collection as a mock-up of what Revenge of the Sith would have looked like on the American market. But that doesn't mean other places didn't have it. We've seen it from places like Finland, and from France, and from Japan, and from the UK. This was that regular, non-rental, says it up at the top, not for rental, release of Revenge of the Sith from the UK. And yes, Ricky Ray, who donated this to my collection, one of the first donations the collection ever received, I do still have your little note from when you sent it kept inside the package here. So thank you again for that. But now, thanks to Jeff Rabjohns, who managed to have two of these in his collection, one for Revenge of the Sith, one for Attack of the Clones, these rental copies, one of which he was able to go get mold cleaned off of to send my way. I am finally able to show you the last, that we haven't seen yet, of the rental versions from the UK for the prequels. That is this. Now, I'm not sure if this black case is the original case. Probably, but I couldn't say with certainty. The other ones were in clear cases. But it looks very similar, right? You got the logo up here, you got the image here, THX stuff, and the rating. A little bit of damage. That's not like part of the design, just a little bit of the art that's scraped. And then at the bottom, for rental viewing only. I guess means that if they sold it off as like a, hey, we don't need this anymore, here, buy some previous rental, you still couldn't watch it, right? For rental viewing only, ever. Doesn't say ever. That's okay. Then on this side, 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment, again, a little scuff. Logo, title, image that we've seen a million times for Revenge of the Sith. Rating there, THX. Then underneath, you've got Lucasfilm product number, a little bit of tape residue and whatnot there, like sticker residue. And then, again, tiny, tiny, tiny at the bottom for rental viewing only. And yes, I know that it's distracting with me looking here to see what I'm seeing as opposed to looking exactly at the camera, but it's kind of off to the side, so it's always a little weird. The back's similar. The saga is complete. Your two images with your background image, text about the film, cast crew information, various logos and whatnot with your legalese. Rating down here, not nearly as spelled out as we saw on Phantom Menace with this whole little area down here, or Attack of the Clones with this whole little area down here. Instead, this just says contains moderate fantasy violence and scary scenes. Suitable only for persons of 12 and over, not to be supplied to any person below that age, rating 12, which is sort of like the standard language to go along with it here. And then again at the bottom, for rental viewing only, just that red band going all around it, whereas there was no band at all on Phantom Menace, and Attack of the Clones had it on the top here and the top here, but nothing on the spine. In the case of Revenge of the Sith, it does go all the way around. And it's that garish red with white text. Kind of reminds me of some of the buy and keep versions that we saw, for instance, coming from Sky Store over in the UK for some of the more recent films. Then the cassette, right here. The cassette says for rental viewing only, and by comparison, I should note, not for rental is on the retail version. So you can tell where the cassette came from by the label that's on it, which is somewhat unusual. And so, yes, in the UK, you could get a trilogy set of the prequels in standard retail packaging. There's also a widescreen version of The Phantom Menace you could have gotten, but you could also, sort of after the fact on the secondary market, get yourself a rental collection of the prequel trilogy from the UK. Significantly larger in size. We'll do another comparison here, stacked. Significantly larger in size, but still a pretty neat little way of having these that differs from what we see on the American market, which is always where my fascination lies when it comes to releases from other regions. Things that we just didn't get. We didn't get the clamshells unless you went to Toys R Us for a full-screen Phantom Menace. So that by itself makes those pretty neat, but then these giant ones, just a step beyond what we ever saw with retail packaging typically in the United States. So with that, we will wrap up this episode. Again, my thanks to Jeff Rabjohns for the Revenge of the Sith rental copy here, along with Attack of the Clones as we saw in the last one here. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers, whether you're renting or purchasing. Although these days, probably more purchasing than anything else, if you can find physical releases at all. It's a dark time for the home video collector, isn't it? Anyway, I digress. May the Force be with you.